Hello and welcome to the Claret and Blue podcast. I'm your host Dan Rolinson and this is John Townley. John, how are you, mate?
I'm good. Yeah, I'm good. We're back at Villa Park.
Back at Villa Park.
Yeah, merely hours after our first league win of the season. Successive wins last week,
unbelievable.
right?
Unbelievable.
Can't stop winning, can't stop scoring.
Are we good again?
Were we good before? No. Yeah, we were obviously very poor, and I think we've made improvements in the last week. I'm not gonna lie, I did disagree with Unai after that Sunderland game when he said that we are making improvements. For me, I didn't really see them, but we have seen against Bologna and now Sunderland as well. Fulham, that we are making those little improvements. So, yeah, it's a gradual process, I think.
Yeah, I mean, what could go wrong with us trying to walk and talk up a hill on the way towards Aston Hall? We're here today to do our Q&A. We'll start answering the questions when we get up there and sat down somewhere. We just want to get back to Villa Park and get kind of in amongst the scene of the crime of us winning games, and the sun's still shining. It's not too cold yet that we can still come out and about and film, so we want to kind of make the most of that. Before we get there, do you want to just kind of summarise your thoughts on yesterday? You can take the camera and kind of walk off if you want. I'll just take it, mate. As we kind of find a place to sit down up here.
Really important that we got the win, but also, really, I don't think we could get that win without, an improved performance on even Bologna. I don't think that was a particularly inspiring performance. I'm not going to say Fulham was perfect either, because it wasn't. But, John McGinn, as Unai Emery said after the game, had his teammates on his back, which is a really nice quote from him. Post-match, Ollie Watkins getting his goal, Morgan Rogers showing some more signs of him getting back in the groove. Not everything was going to come off that he tried, but really an improved performance from him and across the team as well. Matty Cash deserving some of his flowers that he doesn't often get. As Riconza blocking a goal off the line, there was lots to be kind of pleased with. Still, more levels for this team to go, and of course players to come back, like your player of the season last season in Yuri Tielemans.
A lot of people don't like giving him his flowers, by the way. People think that's a newfangled utter woke nonsense kind of phrase. Although I can't say utter woke nonsense these days either. Yeah, that.
Well, I like it because.
What do you mean? It's just like give him his praise. Back in my day, John, we used to just say give him some praise.
Because I think there's a lot of kind of hate in this world, and the thought of flowers is nice and colourful, and let's be positive. So I think it's just a nice thing to think about.
Okay, fair enough. Shall we go and look at some flowers at Aston Hall?
Yeah, go on, let's do it. What a segue that is.
It's nice, Aston Hall, isn't it? It's a nice little spot. We came and filmed up here the other week, and we sat down there with the hall behind us. We thought we'd sit on a bench because that stone wall did no favours for my backside last time we were here.
Yeah, and it's
still got the sun in my eyes though.
It's quite cold. There's a bit of frost on the grass as well.
Yeah, a bit of dew. Yeah.
No, it's pretty out there.
Yeah, it's getting that time of year now. What I wanted to do early doors on this episode actually was kind of give a shout out or a request to those that maybe have small businesses or work for somebody that owns a small business, like a restaurant, a hotel, a cafe, a bookshop, whatever. If you kind of listen to the podcast and think, oh, these guys could do with somewhere indoors to sit when it gets cold and dark and rainy, please take us in for the low cost of one podcast a week, and we kind of give the business a shout out or whatever. Thanks to Tony's Bakery for letting us film here, that kind of thing. First question then from Ash. It says, are we at the point where Buendia and Guessand are the automatic starters and Rogers is on the bench? If it's not working going forward for Rogers and he's currently offering little help in defence, he shouldn't be playing. Everything may not have come off for Guessand going forward, but his work rate in defence is brilliant. And there's a few questions about Guessand, so we'll get to him in a sec.
Yeah.
This question is more so maybe less, is it Buendia or Guessand that are now kind of a shoe-in? And for me, is it time for Rogers to come out? There were improvements against Fulham, way better than the Bologna game.
If you're
going to keep playing him, aren't you?
Yeah, if you're going to take Rogers out now, you should have done it a few weeks ago.
It's almost like that question was from last week.
Yeah, with all respect, yeah, because people, watching the Fulham game would have the same sort of opinions, I think, about, well, is Rogers really, is he still contributing like we need him to? No, he's not, but I definitely saw some encouraging signs. It looked a bit more like the Rogers that we know.
Yeah.
And that we love, that Emery loves.
Still quite far off the level, but better.
Yes, but I also think, I don't know, when I was watching the game yesterday, I thought, well, if Rodgers put in this kind of performance, having just joined Villa, we'd all be really excited, I think.
Yeah.
Genuinely.
It's kind of
because there was moments of, he's done well there, or that pass is the right selection. He's played someone through there, here and there. Like we're talking about Guessand in that sort of way, aren't we? Kind of. We don't really know what to expect, but you're seeing glimpses of, I can see why he's starting for Emery. I felt a bit like that with Rodgers, to be honest. So I'm happy that what I saw from him against Fulham was enough for me to think, well, you know what? Next week, if he can play better again, and then better again after that, he'll hopefully quickly get back to the level that we showed, and that's going to be really important for us. We said in previous episodes how important he is in the team. I think if you take him out, who's going to be playing instead of him? Is it Elliott, a player who Emery, we can have our opinion, but Emery says himself needs more time to adapt. So I'd be staggered if Rodgers is now taken out of the team. For any reason, to be honest. As long as he's fit and healthy to do so, he will play, and I'm okay with that. I think he needs to be worked back into form because we need him, and we saw signs of that, I think, on Sunday. Yeah,
let's do Guessand then. There's two questions in one here. First of all, from Lee. Can we have a review of Guessand? Looks to be the most trusted of the new signings so far. Still obviously learning, but there's a clear plan for him because he's starting more often than not. My perspective is he looks bright when he's tricking people and making them fall over themselves. However, you can't be doing that 2 metres in front of Matty Cash. Please get up the field. He's in all the wrong positions to maximise his attributes. And from Gus, I think Guessand has potential to be a real handful. Once he gets used to the pace over here and develops confidence, he has the physique to really scare opponents. And I think those two are a nice summary for me, that there's absolutely signs there and things to be positive about that, again, we speak about, and I think there might be a question about the fickle nature of football fans, and specifically for this podcast, Villa fans, that it was only maybe 2 games ago, it was Guessand's awful. He's one of the worst players I've seen play for us in our comments and on our mailbag, and I thought that was too far the other way. I'm not suggesting he's a world beater, but he's better than awful.
It's interesting how Guessand is playing over Marlon, over Sancho, over Harvey Elliott, as you say there, Dan. Because usually when players come in, apart from Pau Torres, it's rare that a player gets
Rodgers
an extended run of game.
Rodgers,
but mainly because of Ramsey's injury. Maybe Onana would have been the other player who kind of started straight away at the start of last season. But at the same time, Onana scored in each of Villa's 3 away games. Guessand hasn't kind of set the world alight. But that's interesting because usually when that happens, Emery will take them in and out, and he'll shuffle it around. But he's just stuck with him, which I like. So for that reason, that's making me more excited, knowing that Emery is clearly seeing something there.
Is that because we scouted him for longer or something? That the Elliott and Sancho deals were, I'm not saying they're panic buys, but they were done later on. Whereas Guessand is done earlier. He's had more time with training,
Possibly.
so he's seen more of him to know that I get that he knows what to do.
Possibly, maybe so. I'm not totally sure, but the defensive contribution I think is a massive part of why he's playing so often, because Emery feels secure with him there. Maybe this is half the reason why Elliott isn't getting as much minutes or as many minutes, same as Sancho. The defensive structure for Emery is obviously so important, and if Guessand is working hard in that and is more tactically astute in that way, that gives him a massive advantage.
Bit of lawn mowing going on there, fair play.
And then just final on Guessand as well. I still want to see his final ball improve. But we're not talking about the finished article yet at all. So I'm excited for what he's going to become, and I'm also again encouraged by the rate of improvement in his game in the last few weeks. The Bologna game again, I'm not going to count that as a particularly impressive performance. I think it was just some encouraging signs there. But he probably should have scored. He probably should have scored against Sunderland. But then how often do we talk about Ollie Watkins getting in the right positions and having that impact? So again, reasons to suggest that moving forward, this could be a player who really develops quickly, and also could be a fan favourite. There was a few times where he's getting the crowd up. I'm pretty certain he did it in front of the Fulham fans. I'm almost adamant that happened, and then he probably realised, no,
not you,
not you lot.
Dan again.
Yeah. But again, his defensive contribution too. Like, I think it's his first game, was it, against Marseille in pre-season? He comes out and just clatters someone straight away like that.
We spoke about it on the post-match show. That's really helping Cash as well.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Okay, I'll do one more question here, and then I want to move somewhere else because the sun is playing havoc with my eyes, and I don't like squinting at you. Anonymous, this person's asked to remain. I normally make up a name if they don't leave one, but they've said, I'll stay anonymous as this may be a hot take. But am I the only one frustrated with our fan base? We have so many reactionary hindsight merchants blaming anything possible to explain poor performances. Our signings are bad. We should have sold Watkins. Emery's lost it, etc. It's clear to see that a huge part of our issues come from low confidence and poor atmosphere at the club. But instead, many of us complain that, for example, Marlon should start. Until Marlon starts and he has one poor game against our bogey team Crystal Palace, and then it's Marlon was a waste of money, what did we sign him for? Football is a marathon, not a sprint. Jumping on players or the manager after a few poor games is for fan bases like Manchester United's, not Aston Villa's. We are better than this. And I don't think that's a hot take. I think there's a lot of that is true. This podcast, for example, not us specifically, but the things that we are asked to talk about, we got asked every single week, after even the first game or two, are we in trouble with relegation? Or could we be in trouble here? Like, has Emery got to go? Has he passed it? Has he lost the dressing room? Yada, yada, yada. If this podcast had no fan interaction, I ain't...
You don't mean this in a bad way, by the way.
No, absolutely not. Like, we will talk... This show exists because these are the topics that people want us to talk about.
And we need a variety of opinions.
The fan zone on Fridays, we want to hear from people because we'll talk about things that we might not normally talk about. And a lot of the time that takes us down avenues that, that's like a really interesting tactical point or whatever, whereas we might have glossed over it. But there's absolutely no chance in any world that I'm mentioning the word relegation after 3 or 4 matches if fans aren't asking us to, because that's not my opinion. That was way too early for that, and I'm not suggesting now that we're clearing in the woods and we're going to stay up, and be top 6 because we've beat Fulham, because that would be too far the other way. But I've seen signs for Sunderland, Bologna and this that we are heading in the right direction, and it's a social media thing as well. I think I can just say this and it's gone. And the amount of times you'll pull somebody up on something and say, yeah, well, what about this? And they'll go, yeah, I was just angry after the game and I've kind of calmed down a bit now. It's just, you just see something on your phone and then that's the narrative, whereas more often than not, that isn't how people really feel about things.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think it's taken everything with more balance, essentially. I think it's very hard to judge what Villa are going to achieve this season and what our aim should be. I think
a lot of clubs are a bit like that. Liverpool have won a lot of games, but nobody's really like, well, will Spurs look amazing or Brighton look this. There's a lot of teams that have had mixed results.
We can go through that to kind of paint the picture. So Forest, they've got problems because Andrew's just come in and they haven't won a game. Lost at home to Sunderland, we drew away, granted against 10 men. That's not a good result, by the way, please. Just saying.
We had a good start, by the way. Unbeaten now.
Yeah. So Brentford have beaten Man United. I know Man United are a bit of a basket case, but apparently we were so much worse than them as well. But they beat them, they beat us as well. So it's not as if Brentford are... when we played them, I do think the perception was, and it was from me as well, they could quite easily get relegated. Yeah. But as it turns out, they've still got some good players, and the manager does seem to have a bit of continuity. Anyway, not kind of dressing these things up, but just in general, other clubs. So Tottenham had a great start under Frank, but nearly lost at home to Wolves and did suffer a poor result the other week, and I can't forget who it was against. I can't remember who it was against. Anyway, Newcastle as well. They haven't...
Us, Newcastle and Forest next to each other in the table as European contenders last season, and now I think we're 16th, 15th, 14th. There's a lot of clubs that are struggling. I've said this for
Chelsea. You can spend all the money that they want in the world, but if you're just going to spend it on 21-year-olds, pulling one out the sky, Gittins, for example, he's not a £51 million player. He's probably a £20 million player who will become a star player potentially, even for England. But right now, it's Maresca. I'm not a massive fan of, to be perfectly honest. There's a lot of clubs who are questioning different things. We're absolutely one of them, and for reason. We only scored our first league goals recently, and have won once in the competition so far. I think more for us, it's the fact that we've played teams who, on any given weekend, you'd hope to beat. Whereas Newcastle have played Liverpool and Arsenal at home. There's no shame in losing against those teams, and they've fought well. They've lost both games really late. So for us, we have to show a lot more going forward. But there are also other teams that are also questioning where exactly they're going this season. What is their target? So if we can beat Burnley and go into that next period of the season after the break, and you've got Tottenham, Liverpool, Man City, it's kind of like a bit of not a fresh start necessarily, because you can't forget what's just happened. It's been poor, really. But it almost feels like a bit of an opportunity. Maybe not necessarily free hits, because I don't think we are in that territory. really, considering the start we've had. We need to get points. But do you know where
It kind
I'm
of feels,
coming from?
Yeah, like nobody, like I say, is running away with the European places. You know, Liverpool might win the league. Arsenal, Man
For
City,
as bad as we've been, we haven't lost ground where we're 8 points behind.
Yeah, like Palace have
7th.
Started well. Do I think they'll finish top 6? No, I don't. I think they'll be top half. Yeah. Sunderland have started very well. Will they be top half? Maybe, but again, I think that's very hard to keep.
It'll even itself out.
Yeah, Forest. I don't know about Forest actually, but Villa and Newcastle I absolutely expect to improve. But you take Chelsea, we play Burnley this weekend, and it's not kind of too over the top to suggest that we should be winning that game.
No, we should.
Chelsea play Liverpool. If those results go that Liverpool win and so do we, we're above Chelsea. This super team that has spent loads of money.
Yeah, so
they're 2 points ahead of us now.
Perceptions can change easily when you start to build a bit of momentum. So yeah, it hasn't been great, but it's not so terrible. And if you look elsewhere, again, as you say, that we're not already looking at other teams and thinking, oh, we're going to have to win 3 in a row and they're going to have to lose a couple. Like,
it's too early for all that.
It's so early. And by the way, if we were to lose to Spurs, well, yeah, there would be a bit of a gap there. So, you know, it's really early to look at these things and kind of come up with a kind of perception of, oh yeah, that's going to happen. And so for me, it's always 10 matches into the season. That's when I look at the table, actually look at it. That's when things start to, build. And then really until Christmas, that's only when I worry about gaps in the division. And just a quickly side point, you talk about Forest, obviously they're a Europa League team as well. Just kind of bringing it back on track there. We'll talk about it in a bit, but it's a good thing that they've hit a bit of a bump, I think. Hopefully that continues.
Yeah. Okay, can we go and find some shade, please?
Yeah, let's go.
Okay. All right, we found a different park bench, the other side of Aston Hall now, so I don't need to squint at you for the next 20 minutes or however long, give myself a headache. Should we talk about the preview a little bit, the fan zone? I just want to kind of address a couple of comments. So we did our new show. Why are you laughing?
When you said address the comments.
Well, my kind of thinking is this is one of our most viewed shows, so maybe people that have skipped our other stuff, they'll be listening to this. So this is like a message to those that skip other things.
Yeah.
So if you don't normally listen to the preview, where we race around after a presser and say, oh, what did Unai Emery say? And it's like, well, not much actually, and what's your score prediction? And then that's it. We've changed the format of the fan zone now, the preview, to be more like this, to have fan interaction as part of the show. So if you enjoy the Q&A, we think you'll like the fan zone, is the point I kind of want to make to those that listen to this episode. But just 2 comments. This first one's from Joel. It's a bit of a letdown that the only podcast that gets access to pre-match press conferences decided not to do a preview. It might be boring to you guys, but it's nice to hear what the manager has said and the way it was said rather than reading quotes. Also, it's nice to hear from other fans on how their team is playing and what they expect, even if it's a 10 to 20 minute podcast. Now, I did skip for Fulham, the opposition section. I am going to bring that back at some point because it was only a 5-minute segment, but it was nice to hear from the other side, so that will return. On the flip side, Matt says, it's a good idea to step away from the usual and do content you enjoy. The Sunderland preview, you could tell it was a bit rushed to fit it in, and the presser stuff wasn't really worth it. There's loads of Villa previews about, so doing it differently and getting questions in from the audience is a better format. And that's kind of our feeling towards it. We speak a lot off camera, obviously, about the show and our workload and your responsibilities and different things, and this isn't woe is us, we're so busy we can't do things. However, when we finished the fan zone last week for Fulham, we both kind of pressed end recording and went, that felt so much better than what we were doing before. That if we're more engaged with our content, we think that will make for better episodes for people to listen to. Us running around on a Friday night going, should we just go live in 10 minutes? And it's like, we have to get it done now. It's not an environment we want to be working in.
I don't like not really concentrating that much when I'm doing a video either.
Because you've got written deadlines.
Yeah, written deadlines for print, and there's a bigger workload now on a Friday. So yeah, ultimately we just come to that decision, but it's also, we think, a better show because we'd rather get, as we just spoke about then, fan perspectives ahead of the game, to be perfectly honest. I think I said previously that we're in our own little bubble sometimes, that I don't know sometimes what the rest of the fan base is feeling about a game or about a player or about these different things, and it's nice to kind of have an open discussion about it. I'd rather do that than for 30 minutes kind of try and regurgitate what Unai Emery had said. I fully agree with Joel, though. It is nice to get a perspective on how on how Emery might say things, what the mood was like. Over the course of a season, we think that the new show, The Fan Zone, will be better received than kind of like a quick in and out preview.
Yeah, well, it's a trial ultimately as well, and if what we're doing doesn't work because for whatever reason people aren't engaged with it or they don't want to take part in it or whatever, we're not kind of wedded to these ideas forever.
And if you want to take part,
you can go to this QR code on screen here or the link in the description. We've got the mailbag, which if you're listening to the Q&A, that's how we get the questions for it. But the mailbag, the same link, is where you can go and have your opinions, predictions on the game.
Literally anything about
what
the
are you
game.
concerned
Anything.
about? You know, Everton, Burnley's left winger. Tell us, and we'll talk about it.
And if you do comment on it, you'll essentially be guaranteed to be involved.
It will definitely be read and considered for the running order.
Make them good then.
But yeah, make them good.
Maybe make something that's different, because if we have, I don't know.
What I should say, I suppose, some of those 40 were the same.
Yeah, if we have 5 on Morgan Rogers, I guess, then either make it a different thing about Rogers or...
Yeah. Be creative and leave your name as well.
Yeah, leave your name.
That's helpful for me. Okay, anyway, on with the show. The Groover. Do you think we'll see Harvey Elliott get a decent run at the first team, or will he be another player who needs 6 to 12 months to settle into Emery's methods?
I do. I kind of briefly touched on it earlier. I do think that will be the situation.
Will it be that long, do you think? 6 to 12 months?
Oh, but put it this way, I don't think it's going to be a quick adaptation in terms of what Emery wants. I think that's the key thing, because what I've seen with Elliott is that I think it's pretty positive.
Yeah, agreed.
I've liked what I've seen from him. So I think it's a little bit harsh that Emery's kind of not singling him out, because he did say he didn't take him off because he was playing bad. It's just a tactical decision, which in my head's a bit like, well, he may as well have been playing bad then.
Yeah,
because
he wasn't doing what he wanted.
For you, yeah, exactly that. Yeah. So yeah, it's a different system to what Elliott is used to, and he's been asked to do different things. I don't think it'll take him that long, because he looks like an intelligent footballer. I think he sees pictures very clearly.
As well, by the sound.
Good attitude, which is obviously really important. So I don't view this as a negative situation. It's just an interesting one, because when you sign a player who has won league titles and played with the best players in the Premier League, it's a pretty plug and play sort of job, but hasn't exactly worked out like that. Will it take him a period of time? Yeah, like Emery has literally said that himself. But that's okay. As I said in previous episodes, when we talk about Morgan Rogers not playing well, as long as other players step up and be counted for and take their opportunity, it won't matter. If, for whatever reason, Sancho, Buendia, Guessand, we've seen encouraging signs, but if that doesn't come to fruition and they drop out of form or whatever it may be, that will be a problem. So we need them to step up and take their opportunity. To keep, ultimately, every player who's in the starting 11 has to do their utmost to keep the other player out of the team. I want to be seeing Harvey Elliott struggle to get in the team. I want to see Yuri Tielemans struggle to get. Everyone has to struggle to get in the team, because it's so packed with confident footballers who are playing to their best level. We haven't seen that yet at all, but that's the goal.
This is an interesting one from Sean. I think this is basically the 2023 season or the 2024 season. Would you rather have a bad run at the start and then come good, or start well and end poorly?
No, definitely come good.
Yeah,
definitely come good. Yeah, because we can be a juggernaut, can't we? I was saying that a few times under Emery now. Last season we won. Was it 8 of the last? It's 9 of the last 11 or something.
Like that, yeah.
The final day was the final day. It's Old Trafford. As long as we don't play there again, or Selhurst Park on the last day, and obviously we're not going to. But the point, the form we exhibited was outrageous.
It's Etihad, isn't it, to end this season?
Yeah, it's not that bad. It doesn't matter. And then the season before, the one before that, Emery's first season, we obviously had a really good run as well, didn't we?
Yeah.
So I'm confident that we can put those runs of form together and feel like we are the chasing pack, and I feel like we have that mentality about us within the club, in terms of we are underdogs in all these situations without the revenue streams of other clubs, and that we can make a dent in that top 6 again. But you need to be in a position to do that. So I think if you ask most Villa fans now, and I said this last season, other campaigns as well, if in March you are 6 points or so away from those positions that you want to be pushing for, that's fine. Because you have the mentality then of, all right, we are the chasing pack, we know we've done it before, we're the underdogs, no one's expecting us to do it.
Can these birds shut up?
I know. And then we can go from there. So yeah, much rather the second option. First option even.
Being where Sunderland and Crystal Palace are now means nothing, ultimately. Are they going to finish in the top 4? Oh yeah,
well, we don't know.
They might. But being there now doesn't mean anything. You want to be up and around it with 5 or 6 games to go, with the opportunity of, right, you win here, you leapfrog somebody. A carrot dangling to play for.
Yeah.
Being there now doesn't really mean anything. So yeah, do I want a bad start to end well or a good start to end badly? I'd rather neither. I'd rather be consistent all the way through and be good all the time.
But we don't have the option. This is it though. We spoke about earlier. You look at if you want to look at the league table, it's not,
it's not that bad.
Our position's not great, but the points gaps again to other teams. Newcastle are thinking the same thing. They're thinking, we're going to have to, do this, or it's not. We're not talking 7 points differences. So the only thing for me again is you have to beat Burnley, because we know the games that are coming. There's no guarantee at all that you beat Burnley, especially Spurs, Liverpool, and City.
Yeah. Okay. Villa Morty says, we're on holiday abroad at the moment, a cruise around Italy. Nice. Speaking with many football fans of other British teams, all of them rate Emery as a fantastic coach, with Everton, Manchester United and a Spurs fan saying they would all take him as their manager. Why are so many Villa fans questioning Emery's future? Again, this kind of feels a little bit like a question that would have been more suited for last week's Q&A. I don't think we've had any correspondence.
Especially after Alabe is coming.
It's the Monchi thing. I think maybe there were some things that is this the beginning of the end? Then Alabe comes in, which we've not really spoken about too much, to be fair, but that absolutely strengthens Emery's position as he's the man. What do we need to give him to do his job? I'm sure Everton, Man United and Spurs fans or other clubs fans would want Emery. Chelsea fans probably would want him. Not everybody's going to want Unai Emery, but some would.
As we know, the key is that you have to give him what he needs. I say you don't have to. He's obviously.
But you're more likely to get peak Unai Emery if he's got the tools to do that.
Precisely that, and we've doubled down on it essentially, haven't we? If anything,
which I think is a good thing.
If anything, his position at the club is even stronger now, because not only have we, as Monchi, decided to move on, but at that juncture, that's when a club or Suarez would say, okay, so what does the future look like? Oh, it looks like it's with Emery still, without us winning a game at that point. For me, his position is even stronger at Villa now. And I'm fine with that. I've said before, what does the future hold? I think that could be possibly messy, because you need to replace a sporting director, you need to replace your manager, 2 of the most important people at the club. And for that reason, we'll see what happens later down the line. But for now, our best chance of success is still under Emery, in my opinion.
Yeah, 100% agreed. I don't think there are. I think there's less fans questioning Unai Emery's future now we've won a couple of games. As I say, this would more so have been prevalent last Monday.
I think the questions as well, it was more, is Emery, how's he feeling? More like mentally, is he ready to do another long season and another season after that, or whatever it may be? I think that was more of the conversation. I think fans criticising certain decisions, that's obviously fine, but we know he's one of the best tacticians in world football. That's never going to be in question for me. He's not going to lose that. But then there was other obviously questions about, well, the squad, have they lost interest in playing for him, in terms of, I don't know, a Watkins being pushed out by a lone player in Rashford. Other players maybe wanted to move but didn't get one. But again, what would a new manager bring to the club that Emery wouldn't? For me, nothing more than he can provide us. So, again, I think our chances of success under Emery is much higher than what it would be with any sort of replacement that you'd want to think about right now.
Agreed. This is an interesting one from Bareth Gary. Do you think the tactical structure and how important every individual role is in our squad is part of the issue when it comes to how hard it is for youngsters to break into the squad? I keep hearing if the youngsters were good enough, they'd be playing, which is, from me, to be honest, I kind of feel like if they're not in it, they're not good enough. But as someone who follows Scottish football, if Fletcher Boyd doesn't make it at Villa, it's a really poor reflection on our development of young players. At 17, he's already won the Scottish Cup and played a handful of games in a really physical league. For me, I'd be more satisfied with the poor transfer strategy if I could support youth players.
Did you see the goal that he scored the other day?
I did, which was a cracker. Is that a reflection on Villa if he doesn't make it? Specifically him? Is that as much a reflection on the player's ability as well? Or is it a bit of both?
No, Villa are trying to win now, and that's one reason as to why it would be harder for a youth player to get in, or say one youth players, because the teams won the Youth Cup, won the treble actually last season, didn't they?
So they're obviously talented for the level, but are they talented to punch up and get in the top 4 of the Premier League?
Well, time will tell, but will we give those players the time? Can we afford to give them the time? I think that's the key thing. We're trying to win now, so that's why it's difficult. The other point I'm going to, again, it's not a positive one, is that obviously you have PSR, you have those restrictions that we're under, and youth players are a way of making or booking pure profit. A lot of players will go out on loan. I can't remember how many players we have exactly out on loan right now, but it's a lot. And would you say that those players are guaranteed a future at Villa? They're like, absolutely not, unfortunately. So do we all want to see youth players come through? Yeah, 100%. We need more.
It's exciting, isn't it? That's what you want.
Not just young players, but I always like to have local players in the team as well. Our academy's kind of thrown its net far and wide though, so a lot of these lads aren't, Villa fans or anything. Some of them are, and that's what we want to see more of. But at what point do we see these players come through? And that's the difficulty, because there needs to be the right environment for it. In terms of the dressing room and players having that experience, those experienced heads around them, we have that. But again, to throw them into every game in the Premier League really for Villa is, I'm not saying must win, but really that if you don't win a game against anyone that isn't, I don't know, Man City away, Liverpool, really that is, it's not a failure, but it's a frustration and disappointment. So for that reason, I can't, and you're not going to throw those youngsters into those games as well, because you just wouldn't. So it's going to be really difficult for them, but all they can do is continue to play to their best ability. But I think, unfortunately for Villa, I mean, it's fortunately in a way that we're in a point now where it's so hard to get in the team because we're good. But then the other point is that, well, if we were a mid-table team, or like we were under Dean Smith when Jacob Ramsey got more minutes and started to really become a player that we thought, okay, he's got a future at the club. Chukwuemeka got minutes, didn't he, at that time, and under Gerrard as well. That felt like a perfect opportunity for that to happen, because we were mid-table. No one expected us to be competing for Europe, really. And now the dial's been changed. So it's
almost like if you were, we're not going to go down, and we're probably not going to get into Europe. We've got nothing to play for, is not what I mean.
Yeah, but it makes sense, doesn't it?
Less risk to throw in
pressure as well.
Somebody who, they might have a poor game and they might give the ball away and you concede and lose. Well, we're going to finish 12th, probably doesn't really matter.
Josh King for Fulham, outstanding against Villa, and has been really good all season. Limited expectation that they're going to compete for European football, I think. They want to, and that'll be fantastic for them. But they can bring through those young players, and although Josh King is, an exceptional player for his age, would Josh King, and I mean this in the best way, would he get the minutes at Villa as well? Even though he's clearly a talent, would he make that breakthrough under Emery? I don't know, because we haven't really seen that. Obviously, Bogart's got his minutes. Rubenham was sold soon after, kind of starting to get into the team, and that's my issue. Louis Barry, he's not a Premier League player yet. Anyway, maybe he will be in the future, but we were happy to sell him permanently. Rubenham went permanently. Dobbin, no doubt, will go permanently. And I'm not saying all these players are Premier League ready, but you won't know until you give them
I don't think
time.
We're in a position to, are we? We're in this weird kind of paradox of being too good for youngsters, but not. I can't explain what I mean, but do you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I get it. And what I would also add is that, and again, it's going to sound brutal, but for Villa, if you were to bring in a youngster and they play very well for a couple of seasons, that's brilliant and great. But ultimately, Villa are in a sell to buy sort of realm anyway, with the rules. Like Jacob Ramsey, for example, he gets sold because he's a player who he commands a good fee, but also even better is pure profit.
Yeah.
No one wants to see Jacob Ramsey be sold, but unfortunately, that's the way of the world. And we can talk about different things about his injury record. He's only scored 1 goal in the Premier League last season. All those different things. But we'd be happy to put up with him, I'm sure, because he, again, from what he represents, and it's always good to have a local lad in your team. He's still a quality player, but unfortunately, it makes that decision even easier, doesn't it? So it's a kind of a subplot really to our success, I think, and it's a shame.
You mentioned King there. I've put the name here. I've done it wrong. I did it this morning. I've got the name in bold and I've put Fulham. So this one comes from Fulham. King looked like what we were missing in the first half. Direct, skillful, full of vision. But once McGinn started to dominate him, we dictated the game. When we have our best team out, does McGinn warrant keeping one of our 2 usual central midfielders out of the team so Kamara and Tielemans. McGinn's dug us out many times. Could he really flourish there? Now, I was a little bit unsure really about what to judge of McGinn, because I always kind of felt last season that being further back doesn't suit him, and I want to see him kind of nearer the striker or off the right and coming in and being a bit more forward thinking. How many times have we had the comparisons to when he plays for Celtic, gets in great positions and scores for Scotland? He might play for Celtic one day. When he plays for Scotland, he gets in these positions, he scores these goals. I want to see him further forward at Villa. Whereas this season, I feel like further back is starting to suit him more. I don't know whether that's an age thing or he's changed his game slightly, or because he's still got into those good areas to score against Bologna and Fulham, but being further back in the middle and being a bit of a busybody does suit him.
I think what's interesting sometimes is that even when we had Douglas Luiz, so a couple of years ago now, and he'd be suspended or he'd be out, and maybe Tielemans would be out as well. I don't know quite how to explain this, but whenever McGinn's been asked to fill into that double pivot, there's rarely a conversation about us being in trouble, that we're without Kamara, that without Luiz, without Tielemans. McGinn will play there, and it's okay. There's no major issue there. So that's firstly a tick and testament to his versatility and his ability. But yeah, again, it just gives us more solutions, right? Would McGinn start next week if Tielemans was fully fit? I don't think so.
No, I don't.
Because I think Tielemans is such an important cog to the team, and Kamara, you're not going to take out the team. So McGinn for me would then be playing further forward, and I think that is the conversation. I think that will be interesting. It'll be, can you play McGinn further forward with Tielemans and Kamara, and what would you do to the three positions behind Watkins? I think that's the conversation. But yeah, McGinn can definitely play in the double pivot, and is it his best position? I think it honestly depends on the opposition. I think if you ask him to do a job, he can do that. But then further forward as well, we've seen how effective he can be. He's not a right winger though. No. I think that's the key thing.
No, he's definitely not a wide player.
No.
If he's playing out there, he's going to want to come in and get involved. And we've seen at times last season when it's Kamara and Tielemans and McGinn further forward, that McGinn is coming back to help make a three anyway. So he's still doing that busy work. But I just think, if Kamara and Tielemans are your best two, McGinn isn't better than those, but he can certainly do a job in there. Penultimate question then from Mike. This is one for me really, and it's a bit more podcast in-house planning meeting, I guess. Okay. For Mike, whatever happened to the Villa Social podcast you used to do with Bardell, Stokes, etc.? Time is the answer to most of these podcast related questions, and availability. We found it really hard even last season to, right, should we do next week? Yeah, sound. And then we'll get to next week and someone needs to drop out because of childcare or work reasons or whatever. Those four lads were also working full-time jobs. A couple have got young kids, wives, whatever it might be. Something, life happens, right, and things get in the way. And we found it really difficult even doing one a month to be like, right, that's the day we're doing it and that's that. So we've had conversations between us of like, would we like to bring it back? Yeah, because it was a good show and it was different, and no other podcast had 5 people on it at once or 4 people on it at once. That was something that was quite unique. And once a month was like a nice little, okay, we do our usual stuff, and then that once a month is different. But it's so hard to organise that
you just can't commit once a month.
We can't commit to it. Like, we might do a couple per season maybe if we can find the time, and that would be nice to do. But I think you'll definitely see more collaboration between us and Dan's channel, us and Max Stokes is maybe. Not saying we're going to go on away days with Max, but he might come on a Q&A or something like that. I think we want to do more kind of cross promotion between the shows to help us branch out into that kind of wider Villa community. And we've said before, haven't we, that it isn't a competition as such. It's not we hope 1874 hope their views are crap this week because we want to beat them. There's a lot of content out there, and there's something for everybody, and we want to be a part of that where we can, right? Villa YouTube space, Villa media space, it's a nice big variety of different bits of content. So yeah, we'll try and offer something different to what others are doing, and other podcasts as well will be doing different things to us. So yeah, it's no shortage of kind of possible videos. And I think there's good combinations as well. That I always feel like, and I say this kind of internally, that I try and kind of treat Claret and Blue as a brand as if it was a TV channel. That
I don't.
I don't watch everything that BBC One does, but I'll drop into this and I'll drop into that and I'll pick what I want.
Yeah.
I don't expect people to listen to every single episode, although some people absolutely will.
Yeah.
But if you want to skip one and then come back, like, yeah, you pick and choose what you want. Not everything we do is for everybody. You might not be for a certain person in the audience. Kendrick might not be. They might not like his stupid humour. Like, you know what I mean? Like, people can jump around where they want. Yeah. And there's other Villa podcasts that maybe you go and watch Villa on tour, but then you think, well, I'll skip Claret and Blue because I've already watched some Villa content. I hope you don't, by the way. But that's a thing, right? So we need to try and offer different things where we can, like the Fan Zone. That is now different to other podcasts' preview shows. So we're offering something different. Trying to meet up once a week to do things like this, or going to the office more is, again, doing things differently. So we're very happy with what we do, and we love doing the podcast. It's probably the highlight of our working lives, I'm sure. But can we do things slightly differently? Can we do things in a different way? The Claret and Brew is a new feature this year, and that's gone down really well. So, like, we're happy with the level, but can we raise it even further?
Yeah. The next season we'll try and do some more new bits and bobs as well. So
I'll have to start thinking of some
always
new
looking
ideas.
To do something, looking to do something different all the time. Really doesn't mean it's going to be better.
Just different. Yeah.
We try.
I'm going to end with a bit of praise, actually, incidentally, from Craig. He said, "I just want to pass on my thanks to you all. I've been a Villa fan since I was 12, and this year, as a 44-year-old father and husband, after a lengthy process, I was given an autism diagnosis.
Oh, okay.
I've always struggled with making and keeping friends, and social interactions are very stressful. I've become quite isolated over the years, and now I have my family, life can be quite lonely, having no friends. I'm generally fine with it, but sometimes it hits me that no one is really there outside of my wife and boy, plus the dog. I want you all to know that the podcast has become a really big part of my life and week. It's like hanging out with friends to talk about the Villa. I never miss a show. Thanks, Craig, that's what we want to hear. And look forward to every episode. Thank you, and up the Villa." And I like that. And that wasn't a comment to go, oh, pat on the back, John, well done, we've done well here. Some people will drop in and out of things, but other people will listen to everything we say, and we're very grateful for that. And I think podcasts are good for what Craig is talking about there. You do spend a lot of time on your own these days.
Nice,
if you work from home, or you're at the gym, or you walk the dog, it's nice to kind of feel like you're part of something, I think. So,
yeah, definitely.
Really nice.
That's one of the nicest pieces of feedback I think we've probably had. Like,
that's the vibe we're kind of going for, really.
That's why we, a big part of the reason why we do these podcasts, and try and make them better as well.
And try and get fans involved. So
that's the key. That's it.
You kind of want it to be the vibe of people. I mean, for those listening, we're at Aston Villa, we're sat outside together in person, if you can't tell, but you kind of want to feel like whoever's listening is sat here.
Yeah, precisely that.
Kind of involved in the conversation as well.
That's why I always try and do we don't always post them because we've got so many videos kind of going out every now and again, but that's why I try and do a meaty walk and talk after games, because I think one time someone said something like, oh, it's like walking back
to the car.
Like with your deluded friend. But it's that sort of feeling, and obviously when I go over to America and stuff, and people chat to you and whatnot, and they say like, oh, I listen to this like when I'm like, I met someone, he wasn't a farmer, but he was out on a ranch or something. And I was just like, my mind boggled, because I was like, wow, like that's your connection to Villa. It's chatting. So I do the walk talk stuff because it's like, if that's someone's kind of way to kind of decompress a game and their kind of connection through it, then I think that's the way we do our job. Like, you can disagree with our opinions and stuff, absolutely fine. That's kind of the point of it, and why we want different opinions on fan zones and on this Q&A, is we're trying to be a bit more like not a forum, but a bit of a melting pot, I think is how I describe it.
I think it's easy for us to sometimes look at view counts, or how many downloads do we get per month, and that stuff is obviously, from a work perspective, it is very important. But you kind of go and look at an episode and go, oh, that one only got 4,000, that's not as good as yesterday. That's 4,000 people like Craig and others who have all got their own personal lives and stories, and that's a lot of people that are tuning in every week and every episode. So I'm absolutely very appreciative of that.
Honestly, I'd be happy to do it for 20 Craigs, because it's all for the love of Villa. It's all for our biggest hobby in the world. Like, it's something that we can't live without. So it's it's nice to hear the comments, but genuinely, like, one comment is enough for me to kind of crack on for another few months. So
and also, without getting too deep about it, something that isn't spoken about a lot is loneliness, I think for men in particular as well, that it's easy to get kind of cut off from people and lose touch with people and all those kind of things. But you've got a wife, you've got a son and a dog, that's pretty good going. Like, that is a big part of your life. And something.
But can you talk about Morgan Rogers' drop off
they don't understand about not winning games, do they? That is the problem.
Yeah.
So
football is that outlet, isn't it? It's something where for 90 minutes, it sounds cringe, but it's so true. I think we've all felt it. It just takes you away from life. Like, again, it's deep.
It's all like with the COVID years, like
it's so
that was
true.
a massive part of people's lives.
It's so true. I really couldn't be without it. And it's not just the game, it's us doing this podcast. We're talking about Villa. I'm not thinking about other things that's going on in my life or anyone else's. Do you know, but that sounds selfish. But for now, you
I don't
are.
care what you're doing.
Do you know what I mean? Like, you're zoned in. You're thinking about something that you like. Even when we're not playing well, again, it's just a distraction. You might not like it. But
I'll tweet the episode out and we've lost. And I'm like, really enjoyed chatting with you. And it's like, what do you mean you enjoyed it? But it's the part of it. It's the process more so than the actual results.
It's forgetting about the more important stuff, should we say, in everyone's life. So it's to be fair, again, like, we have the privilege of doing it, so if we can kind of help other people to kind of look away, I guess, and focus on one thing, then great.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, I'm going to wrap up. There's someone doing a little jog and they're going to run past the camera in a sec. So I'm going to do my outro nice and quickly. John, thanks for joining me, as always. We'll be back on Tuesday with Claret and Brew, which is going to be European football themed as we build up to Rotterdam on Thursday. We'll have a Europa League preview go out Wednesday as well. The post-match show on Thursday evening and Fan Zone for Burnley on Friday. And the post-match on Sunday for Burnley as well. So 6 podcasts across 7 days. Pick and choose what you want or what you don't want. I've been Dan Rolinson. This was John Townley. Thanks for listening and we'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.